Well, you might think that a book called Cleaning House would have the latest tips to keep your home neat and sparkling, but not this one. It's all about the brave mother who was determined to scrub the "I'm entitled" attitude off her 5 kids. Take a look.
Do your kids still expect you to make their beds? Do they roll their eyes if you ask them to clean the bathroom? For young people today, the idea of working hard to achieve the American dream has changed. It's been replaced with an attitude of entitlement. That prompted author and blogger Kay Wyma to try a year-long experiment with her kids.
And please welcome to the 700 Club, Kay Wyma. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, tell me, how old were your kids when you decided to cleanse them from the entitlement complex?
Well, it really, we have 5, and at that point, it was a 14-year-old. They were 14, 12, 10, 8, and 3. And it was actually a car ride with that 14-year-old that started it all, because we were in Dallas driving along, and we were the meat in a luxury car sandwich where the 14-year-old opined out loud, you know, which car do you think I'd look good in at 16? And he decided on, there was a Porsche, a Lexus, and a Maserati. He picked the Porsche. I swallowed the vomit in my throat, thinking this cannot be happening. And it opened my eyes to something that I thought, how are you saying that when you know all these lectures that I've given you about it not being about stuff? I came home from that ride, and every dish was out, every room was messy with all the stuff they had thrown on the floor, every bed was unmade, and I just had a moment where I sat down thinking something is wrong, something is not working, because they're looking to me to do everything for them, and it's something that most parents deal with in their own homes.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you did, starting with that first month when you decided, okay, something's got to change here.
Where I sat there, I really was like, oh my gosh, these kids are looking to the state to serve them. I'm the state. I'm grooming socialism, and I don't even believe in that. And I did what anybody does. You know, you got a frustrated mother on something, and things change. And I went through the list thinking, what do they not know to be able to get out of our house and live independently, which is what we want for our kids. And I started small, you know, just with their rooms, having them begin again making their beds, and then move down through our house to the kitchen. Do they know how to cook? Do they know what a grocery store is? Do they know where the food comes from, or do they think it just arrives? And then to the laundry, and to, you know, going through every task that they really need to know to be able to live independently. And so we started simple.
Well, how did they respond to all these changes in the household?
Well, they responded like most kids do. They whine and they complain. And then they stepped up. And this is what I thought was so interesting. Kids really thrive on high expectations. And as parents, we do all this very well-meaning because we love them. And we've been groomed to think that self-esteem is important. And we over-trophy our children because we want them to feel good about themselves.
Sure.
And we say to them, you can do anything you put your mind to, but then we race in ahead of them and do it for them because we want their self-esteem to be okay. And we've been groomed to think that's what works. And so as I started putting these things legitimately on the kids' plate, great things happened because they started doing things they couldn't think they could do. And there were real activities that backed up the words that I would say to them, you're amazing. You can do so much more than you think you can. And it was all in our house. It was one of those things that it's sad that we would be talking about, because in the generation before us, this was a way of life. We've stripped it from our kids, and now we're so desperately needing to go back in because, sadly, I think it's changing the fiber of our country.
Give me some examples of some things that you really changed. You said, I'm just not going to do this for you anymore. You're going to have to do this. So you really were teaching them discipline.
Yes, because that definitely comes with it. You know, we know that you train up a child in the way he should go, and as he gets older, he won't depart from it. And training involves training, which is teaching them, showing them, then getting the heck out of the way and letting them do it themselves. And so, you know, simple things, just even dinner, for example. It's a part of, the one part of work that's so amazing is that you're always serving someone on the other side, which is kind of the secret sauce of life. And so even as these children would go about the process of going to the grocery store, making a menu, cooking their meal, setting it before arguably the harshest critics in the world, because, you know, your family's the worst. And I would watch them swell with independence and pride of what they had created, and it would just be a meal.
Well, what message were you sending your children in this form of work?
In the form of, I think the true message was, you have no idea how much I love you because I'm making you do this. You know, they would get in the car just exclaiming what a mean mom I am, because that became the new mantra. You're such a mean mom. Nobody else has to do this. But at the same time, it was nobody else has to do this, and it kind of became a badge of honor for them, which they still embrace even to this day. And they do still whine, I'm just saying. The whining I don't think ever stops, but it's interesting to watch them now approach things like this to me because they want to try it and they want to do it. And that's the most fascinating part. I think parents are afraid to put the things on their kids' plate because they might fail. Yeah. And so we have this trend toward never letting our children fail, which is such a disservice because life is full of that. And you want them to learn how to get up and get up on their own. And you want them to embrace, it's what our country was founded on, problem solvers and critical thinkers. And we are stripping that out of society. And if we want it back, it starts one home at a time, because Chuck Colson always said that culture doesn't change people, but people change culture.
So the 14-year-old is now 16 because this experiment sounded. So did he ever get that Porsche?
No. Okay, and here's the interesting part. That Porsche for him, it wasn't about the car. It was about belonging. If he was driving that car, he's okay. And that volume has been turned down in our house.
Well, let me ask you real quick.
Okay.
It's been 2 years since the experiment.
Yes.
How are your kids doing today?
They're great. They really are. They're regular kids. We are a regular house. You could come in and beds would be unmade. But they definitely are looking more to embrace challenges than they are looking to me to fix them.
Fantastic. Well, this is going to be a revolution for many, many families. Kay Wyma, thanks so much. It's called Cleaning House. It's available wherever books are sold. God bless you.
Thank you so much for having me.